Well, hello, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Fritz. My company is Inertia Legal, and we're here to talk about Worldox. As you'd imagine, my company does legal technology consulting. More specifically, we do document management consulting, and Worldox is one of our key partners that we deliver our solutions with. So the point of today is to cover Worldox, to give you a brief introduction to World Software Corporation as a company, and why they've been such a terrific vendor for us over the years, as well as to lay down a brief rundown of the application, what the key functionality is, as well as the key benefits. So let's jump right into it and make this happen. Worldox. Why Worldox? Or like I said, why World Software Corporation as a whole? A few things. Founded in 1988, they've been at this a long time. They are solvent, they are growing, and they produce phenomenal results for both their partners and their clients. When we recommend an application, we're really recommending a vendor that our own clients will have a relationship with, and World Software is really top of that list. They have 6,000 customers in over 52 countries. There's 300 worldwide resellers and system integrators, which means it's got a healthy community that continues to grow, and they're a 6-time winner of the Law Technology News Gold Award for Best Legal Document Management System. Now, while that's a mouthful, it really is quite an honor within the legal technology industry to be the recipient of that. Here's a few of their clients. You might find a few that you know. Moving right along. The big question, why do we need content management? Well, there's 4 points in particular. One is to improve efficiency. The other is to optimize business processes. Also, compliance and risk management. It's an enormous topic of conversation today. And last but not least, to enable collaboration. Well, what do we mean by this? Improving efficiency? Well, we do that through metadata, which is data about data, and databases for the way that you work. What do we mean by that? Well, when we create Worldox for a client, we customize it so that the data points you use when saving a document match the unique way that you work and practice. So, if we need to record who the client is, as well as what the matter is, the overall doc type, and maybe even an expiration date for a certain type of document, we can do that. And we build out a data architecture that directly supports the unique requirements of your law practice. We also enable full text searching of 100% of your content. That means PDF documents and Word documents and even things that you saved into the system 20 years ago that may or may not be text searchable directly. We will enable text searching across all of that, so you have a Google-esque search for all of your important data. We have great favorites that customize throughout the system. Shareable bookmarks and workspaces, and even searchable on-the-fly categories in your terms. What does that mean? It means I can quickly identify a document that needs a signature and send it to the individual that needs to sign off on it. I can indicate that a document is in draft. I can indicate that it's a final version. Very flexible, whereas a lot of systems don't offer that. Also, optimizing business processes. We can do this through workflow control. We can do this through an extranet with access on your iPad or your mobile device of any kind. We can integrate with different client portal systems such as Citrix ShareFile and SharePoint, and even direct integration with your scanner so that you can scan to Worldox without having to first email it to you or go to a scan directory. Also, compliance and risk management. Goodness, is this a large topic today. We do this at the file level, the user, and the matter level, establishing security on all 3 of those layers. We can also create ethical walls, which would really be akin to the old term for it, a Chinese wall, essentially segmenting a section of the documents within your practice from certain eyes that can't see them. All right? We have full audit logs for compliance purposes. Many of our clients trying to earn contracts from larger companies that have strict audit protocols for themselves that are passed down to the law offices that they work with. Worldox allows you to be compliant and track all that activity the same way they do. We also have legal hold and archiving. And then last but not least, OCR. The OCR again goes back in. It stands for Optical Character Recognition. It makes all of your documents searchable so that we can quickly, in a Google-esque fashion, find that document. Lastly, we enable collaboration. We do this through workflow, particularly in versioning documents and adding comments so everybody knows why that document exists and saving snapshots. We also do it through email. And when we take email, the big feature that we have with Worldox is that we no longer have to relegate email as like a second-class document that's in somebody's own personal inbox. Instead, we can save that email directly into the Matter workspace where the rest of our key Word documents and PDF documents exist. And so we don't have to manage email separately anymore. We can manage it as a first-class document and save it directly into Worldox. I think everybody obviously gets that point. And it comes at no additional charge with Worldox. What else? A few things here. The reliability of the software is off the charts. There's a little survey that was done a while back. Most significant factors in choosing a document management system vendor. Let's see how Worldox performed. 83%, this is competition. 57%, 95% for Worldox. Under ease of integration, 63, 52, 100 for Worldox. Breadth of functionality, 80, 57, 94 for Worldox. You guys get the idea. Worldox is reliable, it's easy to integrate, the breadth of its functionality is beyond the competition, and the key factor at the bottom here, total cost of ownership, is right on line, delivering wins and on budget for clients. What are the different deployment choices for Worldox? We have 3. We can run this on our own server and keep that on our own hardware at our office. We call that on-premise. We can also have Worldox hosted for you on Worldox's servers in the cloud, or we can deploy a hybrid environment where we have some of it on site and some of it in the cloud, if you will. Without further ado, let's jump into the demonstration and let's show you just what it is we're talking about. Okay. So, with any document management systems, documents are primary. And what better place to start than within Word? And so I put together a brief document that we're going to save into Worldox and then track that document throughout this demonstration. So I've been working on this document for a while. Obviously, I have not. However, we pulled this. Yes, let's go with it. We're going to save this document. Save as. Save to Worldox. And once I select Save to Worldox, instead of seeing my normal Windows Explorer screen where I might go to the Z drive or to my Documents folder, instead, I'm going to see a Worldox screen appear where I'm going to enter in a few different elements, such as the description of the document, that'd be my friendly name, who's the client, what's the matter, the doc type, so forth and so on. So let's save this in properly. This is going to be my ECSC document. The client we're going to be working with on this demo is the city of Mesa. All I'm doing is typing it in, and it's checking for results against a list of all of our clients and making sure that's accurate. I can see a fully qualified list if I click on the client button, and these are all the clients within our practice. These client listings may come from your billing system, or they may come from a spreadsheet that's used to take on new clients, or it can just exist in Worldox only, but typically we can easily populate this list from an existing system. If I start to type in Mesa, it'll jump ahead and help me select. So there's Mesa entered. We are going to work on the general matter. This is a sub-listing of matters that are only associated to the city of Mesa. And then for the doc type on this, I'm simply going to use memorandum for demo purposes. But as you can see, I can create a unique list of all the key types of documents that we save within our practice. It might be pleading, it might be an internal note, whatever it might be, but this is all fully customizable. But like I said, let's go with memo for now. And then last but not least, we're going to track both the author and then the person who typed it. I have it set up so that these fields pre-fill based on my user account, being the one who is actually saving these documents. So we can make little tweaks like that to speed up the save process too. But the key part is that we look at the top here, we see the description, whatever I need to easily recognize and retrieve my document down the road, as well as a full profile, client, matter, doc type, author, and typist. And once I'm finished with this, I can click on OK to save it. Now once it saves, I can see a few changes that happen to the name of the document. It now has my friendly description at the top, as well as an ID 7845. And this is a serial number that Worldox assigns to this document to keep track of it. This is very handy because we can instruct Worldox to take this ID and actually stamp it into the footer of a document. So if anybody ever prints this or directly references this document, they can tell you the matter it belongs to and the nice description that they put on it, or they can actually just say, hey, bring up document 7845, and it takes all the guesswork out of it. Up comes your document. So we got a few things to do here. We've created this document, and we've now saved it into Worldox. And what I want to do is I want to show you how we're going to open it. So let's close out of this document. And we're going to drop back into Word as soon as this closes out. And I'm going to go to this shortcut at the top, Worldox Open. At which point, Worldox is going to appear, and we can go browse for our document. Well, how are we going to find this? Well, I could just click on my favorite matters. Worldox keeps track of the matters that I'm working in, and there's that City of Mesa General. Or I could look at a list of my favorite files. These are the most recent documents that I've opened. There's that document right at the very top of the list for ease of access. Or I can actually do a search, and I'm going to bring up all of my client files in the system, and I'm going to enter in the name of the client, which is going to be the City of Mesa, as well as what is the name of the matter. It's going to be the general matter here. Let's go back and just do it right there. There we go. Based on entering client and matter, it's going to show me only documents that are related to that matter for that client and bring up the full list. There's my document at the top. All I need to do is click it, and it will launch the document like normal. Now, one question that we often get from clients is, does Worldox change the way that I draft my documents? Do I need to use a different application other than Word? The answer is no. You continue to use Word. You continue to use WordPerfect if you like. It does not change the way that you draft. It really just changes the way that you save and retrieve documents, and then adds functionality so that you can search on documents across the board as well, and quite a few other things. But it doesn't change the way that you draft. So here's my document. It looks exactly like it did when we saved it. And what I want to do is I want to put a few changes into this, okay? So say I add a section, or maybe what I do is I actually remove a section here down at the bottom. And now I want to save a copy of this as a version into Worldox. How would I do that? Well, it's very simple. I'm going to click on File, and then select Worldox Save As. And notice this time it doesn't ask me to profile the document because it's already been saved in the system. Instead it says, what do you want to do? Do you want to replace the file and just save over it? Would you like to save as version 2 or even save as a new file? Well, I want to save as a version 2. And actually before I do so, I want to add in some comments about why I created this version, right? So let's add in some comments here, and I can write figuratively a book in this section, add in very verbose comments about why this version exists. So let's just say, edits from client. Maybe they're very important. Edits coming from the client directly. I select then Save as version 2. It does a quick spell check just to make sure we're putting good information in. I can add in that acronym I'm using for this document. And once I save that, I see that now this doc ID has a suffix of -2, indicating that it's the second version. So very simple to take a snapshot and save the document as a new version. And if we go back in and we look at this within Worldox, we're going to see that Worldox keeps a whole versioning chain intact for us. So let's go grab that file again, and actually instead of going through my client file search, let me just, for ease of access, simply click on this general matter. I'll see at the top, and now I see that this document has two different versions, and it's clearly identified for me right there. Version number 2, including my comments. And if I want to see a whole version chain broken out, I can select display the version list, and then I'll see what my first version was as well as the current version. And you can imagine if we scale this out to be used on 4 or 5 versions of a document, including full comments, it becomes very, very helpful. And you can use your red line in the background or any other features you might want to use. Again, doesn't change the way that you draft the document or edit it. We're just more effectively saving snapshots and profiling the document with good information. Okay? If I wanted to open up the early version, I could simply check on that. You guys get the idea. Very easy to launch. No real questions about that. One other thing that I can do when I'm in this directory is if I need to share this document with a client, or I need to send it maybe outside of the law office, I can easily right-click this document and have some options too, such as convert to PDF. This is through one of our integration partners and with Docs Corp. I can even email as PDF, and with one click, it will convert this Word document into a PDF document and add it to an outgoing email message. And so if you do a lot of that, this functionality is absolutely key and can really speed up your day in and day out workflows. So come up in just a second. There's my document. The friendly description has come through. It's been added to an outbound email. Simple as that. When I would save this email message, it will prompt me to save it, or when I send this email message, it will prompt me to save it back into Worldox, therefore completing the cycle and allowing me to memorialize or save a copy of the email that was sent out back to the matter itself. No need to save the changes right now. Let's just exit and let's keep moving forward with our demonstration. Okay, so we covered a brief save and browse for a document process. Let's talk about searching for a document. So how do we find documents within Worldox? Well, you guys know that we can search, and more on that in just a bit. But we can also browse for a document. And when we first start with Worldox, we're typically going to load your existing documents into a folder called Legacy Files. And because these documents existed before Worldox, they don't have qualified profile information. We don't know what the doc type is and all these other kind of handy metadata pieces that we can only add through Worldox. So instead, we just grab your client folder directory and load it into Legacy Files where it's managed and it's locked down and it's searchable, and we then make that displayable within Worldox itself, and we can browse that file folder structure. And then to the extent that we find a document that we want to load into Worldox, we simply grab that document or multiple documents and we move them over. This is very simple here. Let's move this into my client files cabinet. Again, let's work with the City of Mesa. Matter is going to be general. The doc type in this case, again, just for demo purposes, will be memo. It could be whatever you might want. And then I will assign my user on both of these documents. And then I move them over. Yes, move the 2 files. So there's a little example of what do we do with pre-Worldox documents. Well, we put them in the legacy. They're fully searchable. And for the ones that we need to bring forward, we quickly bring them forward into our active repository where all of our new documents are being managed and saved by Worldox. Well, what else can we do to find a document? Well, I already told you how we can do a little search here and narrow down by client and matter. I would add that we can also specify a name, or we can say just show me information by date modified within a certain time frame, or I can just say, hey, show me all of the documents that I'm the author for. We have flexibility there. But where it really gets powerful is when we start to do like a Google search. And the main page that we land on within Worldox is the search tab. It's very simple. Everybody knows how to use a web browser, and so we're trying to bring that into Worldox. So I've got a couple of things that I want to search for. I know that I need to find a document that has the word San Antonio, or words San Antonio, in it. It's qualifying that against the index that Worldox has built. And I'm simply going to type it in and then click on search. So I see that 53 documents have appeared. I can see also that my search term is highlighted within the document itself in orange. I can quickly preview these documents by bringing in this preview pane, and I can cycle through them. Remember that Worldox is looking at not only the title of the document, but also the body of the document. And we can quickly scan a huge amount of data and search for it here. Now, if San Antonio is a little too broad, I still have 53 files. I'd like to get a bit more focused. I can simply go back in here and I can revise my search, modify my last active search. And what I'm going to do is I am now going to search for a text in file, San Antonio, and you know what, let me go back to the main screen. We'll make this simple for everyone. So now let's look for San Antonio, and I know the person's name is Jordan, last name is Jordan in this case. Now let's search. It's scanning against all of my documents. There's 12 results down here, and I see both San Antonio and Jordan in these documents that are presented. And in particular, I'm looking for one of these memos to Mike Jordan here. So very simple for us to search across a large amount of data. If I wanted to preview that, again, I just bring in the preview pane. Very simple. I can then browse through, find the document that I need, and then simply just open that up. And there comes the document. Like I mentioned before, I can also easily bring up a list of favorite files within Worldox. I can narrow this down to show me only recent email messages that I've opened or recent Word documents, or I can see all documents that I've opened. There's my full list. This is very handy when we're working on a set of documents. Maybe I'm focusing on one case for a day or two. All the documents that I'm editing are quickly accessible through favorites and kind of top of the list. So a simple concept, very powerful features in the background working for you. Now let's talk about Outlook and how do we save an email message. Well, it's very, very simple. And again, it's not going to make you draft email messages somewhere else. It's just going to say, let's save that email message into Worldox very easily so we can see that message along with all of our other case information. So I sent an email this morning, kind of queuing this up, and it has an attachment. And what I want to do is I want to save a full copy of this email message into Worldox. So how do we do that? We simply highlight the message. I could also do multiple messages at one time just by clicking on more than one. But I'm going to highlight the message, and I'm going to click on Worldox, and then I'm going to select Copy. At which point, it's going to grab a copy of this email message. It's going to take the subject line and put it into the description of this document. I can change that if need be, no problem. And because I've saved an email message from this email address before, it's going to pre-fill all of this profile information. So the last time that I saved an email message from Aaron at inertia.legal, it knows that I saved it to the city of Mesa, general matter with email message appended. And it's going to load all of that profile information in. So while not perfect here, 90% of the time you have an email message that's related to a specific case. It's going to speed up the process of saving it. So just kind of a neat thing that Worldox is doing for you. I'm going to click on OK. It's now going to save a copy of that entire email message, including the attachments, into Worldox. Now, one thing to note, when we save an email message with an attachment into Worldox, Worldox does go in and index the attachment as well, provided that the text is searchable. All right, so nice little feature. Just because we have an attachment in an email doesn't mean it's not going to be included in search results. Very cool stuff. I can also save this attachment directly from an email message into Worldox, and I would simply just click on this drop down, select Save As, at which point Worldox is then invoked. I could profile this document and save it like I did before, but this document is actually an edit from my client regarding the document that we've had in draft. So here's what I want to do. I want to take this attachment and I want to click on Save as a Version. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to find the version or the document that I want to version this against so that we can keep the version sequence intact even though those came in from an email. Really cool little feature here. So let's click on Favorite Files. Just want to see everything come up. There's that ESC document. And I'm getting an error for some reason. Demo systems can be fun. My apologies here. What we would do in this case is we would save as a version against the existing document, and it would allow me to essentially match up the whole version sequence. So we're just going to force this in this case and get it back into the right segment. So let's go with City of Mesa, General, doc type is going to be Memo, and OK. All right, so it's going to save it right back in. I can, of course, rebuild the version sequence after the fact because I had to save this one back in directly. And I'm going to refresh that. So there's my revised document. Afterwards, I could go back and link this together. There is a nice expedited way of bringing those two together. But I think you guys get the idea there. So when it comes to saving Outlook messages, Outlook email messages into Worldox, we have direct access to do so through the Worldox tab. We can save an email attachment directly into Worldox as well. And there's one last feature that's really quite killer that I think you'll like to see too, is that Worldox, based on where you've been in the application, builds out favorite matters at the bottom. And so there's my City of Mesa, as well as my general matter that I've been working on, and all I would need to do is simply drag and drop into the general matter to get that email into the system. Now, depending on how I set this up, it might prompt me for a last bit of profile information, but it's very, very simple to get that document or that email message into the system by simply dragging and dropping. And last but not least, because I have things mapped between Outlook and Worldox, I can also click on this general matter and embed the Worldox view directly into Outlook. So that way I can live in Outlook. A lot of us spend our time there. If I'm saving email messages from Outlook into Worldox, I can quickly toggle back and forth. Just a very nice little feature to speed up our workflows. And so there's many more things we can say about Worldox, but today is really about a basic demo. And that is essentially going to wrap it up. We would love to talk with you about this further. Please do not hesitate to reach out to us. Our phone number is 602-456-0770. And of course, you can email us at sales@inertia, inertia.legal. We hope that this has been worth your while. And again, we would love to continue the conversation and show you how Worldox might benefit your law practice. Thank you.